exactly that. We know we have work to do. We're here to do that work. We're excited about working with kids. And so we're very excited that each and every one of you all is in this room, and each and every all care as much as you do because you're here. Our kids are our most important resource. As I was watching this video, I got really psyched and excited because what I saw were some beautiful, brilliant kids. And so all of our tasks, everybody in this room's task, is to make sure that we put everything in place so they can be as successful as they possibly can be. And I'm really excited that we're getting to work with Dr. Triplett as he tries to bring that vision to fruition. So I'm excited, hopefully you are. The campus looks beautiful, so I was looking at all the green grass and so forth, and so that kind of gave me that vision of spring and hope and all of that, and so that's what we're here to do. We're here to get data, because we can only do that, and we're here to look at that data and figure out how we can use that data as a springboard to being the wonderful, powerful district that we know that we are.
Thank you. It was nice to hear from Ms. Roberts. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here this evening at this public hearing. My name is Dese Serino. I'm Assistant Commissioner in the Office of Quality Schools at the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. And before we get started, and I kind of talk a little bit about why we're here, I'd like to recognize my colleagues from Dese. First of all, from the State Board of Education, Ms. Pamela Westbrook-Hodge.
I mentioned that I am a class of 1987 from Ms. Leslie.
Wow. And the Commissioner of Education, Margie Van Diemen, is with us. Craig Larson, Area Supervisor. And Shanika Williams, our Director of Charter Schools. I want to thank Normandy High School for your hospitality and also the Normandy Schools Collaborative and the board members for hosting. A little housekeeping about one of the reasons that we're here this evening for the forum. We'll stay for it. Section 162.081 of the revised statutes of Missouri requires that the department hold public hearings in districts that are now or have been unaccredited and are now provisionally accredited as long as the district remains in that status. The statute calls out the purpose of the hearing to provide an opportunity to bring together community resources to talk about what may be helpful or needed to support full accreditation status. That's really about all that I have for you. You've heard about the agenda. Dr. Triplett is going to have a program for you. There'll be some opportunity for discussion following that. And then you'll hear from me at 7:30 to adjourn the hearing. A small note on capturing your thoughts, so you'll have an opportunity to speak, and we encourage you to do that. This meeting is being live streamed, and that will be recorded. If you saw these cards on the way in, the sign-in sheet, if there's something that you didn't get to surface during the conversation or something that you would like to tell Normandy or tell us at the department, please fill out one of these cards and leave it, and we'll capture those before we leave. And then I know she's really busy, but Commissioner Van Diemen would like to share a few words with you.
Thank you, Lisa. Yes, it is really great to be in the Normandy Schools Collaborative area right now and to be with all of you. I just wanted to say is, wow, look at this place. This looks fantastic. You've been doing so much work here. It looks great. Another thing I wanted to say is April was a big month for us here. It signaled the full transformation back to the locally elected school board, and we did. I'm really happy to see that back in the hands of the locally elected school board. That also that continued responsibility upon the community to come forward and step up and really support our children and continuing the work that you're doing to make sure that happens. So there are a couple of areas to speak at this community meeting about primarily. The first being that of regular attendance of our students. We've talked about that, I know, for the district, the number of these meetings, but I'm not sure that I can emphasize that enough. That is certainly something that is being emphasized across the nation. It is not only here in Normandy, but I want to continue to, when I talk to community members, it is absolutely essential that our kids come to school and are here to learn, and we have to make sure that that is a priority for all of us. So if there are ways that you think the state could support you in those efforts, we'd love to hear that. How can we help get the word out to parents about the importance of regular attendance? How can we get the word out to our business and community leaders to help efforts? We'd really like to see that. The second area that I'd also like to hone in on is that of supporting our teachers. And we can do all sorts of things at the local level to make sure culture and climate are a place for our students, but at the state level, we recognize the need for having a high qualified, highly skilled, highly trained teacher in every classroom. And so what can we do to continue to support in those efforts? So you'll hear us talking about that over and over again, and would certainly welcome feedback on if there's ways that we can help you with that as well. But you can hear all of that tonight in the presentation. I really, as Lisa said, there's a lot going on right now back in Jefferson City. But I wanted to come out here personally. It is, I'll be stepping down in the summer. Some of you may or may not have heard that. But I have been in the commissioner role now for about 8 years. And I have been working at the department, and particularly with this district for, gosh, I want to say close to 18 or 19 years. It's been a long time. And when I reflect upon what it's going to be like for me to be stepping down, and I just wanted to share with this community how much you mean to me personally, that it has really been a great opportunity to work with people in this district, in this school, and I would love to be able to tell you how much we're going to continue to support the efforts that you're putting in place, because as your board member just so graciously stated, it is really all about making sure we're taking care of our children. So please keep focused in those efforts, and thank you for the reception that you have shown me over the past decade as the commissioner, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight to say that to you personally. So thank you so much. And it is now my honor to introduce to you your superintendent of schools, Dr. Triplett. This is the gentleman you really came out to hear from, and I would love to be able to hand it off to you. Thank you.
Good evening. So I'm going to first say that as late as it is in the evening, I promise you she is that way at 8 o'clock in the morning. So Laura, give me the ingredients to that shake that you drink.
I need it 7.
So here's where I need your help. We'll do some presentations, and when Tony Campbell and Tony Brooks present, please help me keep on schedule. I'm just kidding. But when you look at the presentation, it's scary. It looks like a whole lot of slides, but I promise you it's all in sync. So, instruction, culture and climate, safety and security, business finance, student support services, human resources, and communication. So these are our 5 strategic priorities. First one being engaging environment, college-ready teaching and learning, top talent, impactful partnerships, and 21st century learning organization. As we move through the presentation, you'll get some of all of them. Now, to take a look at what is Normandy made of. So our student demographic currently, we sit at 2,894 students, of which 78% on that number are African American. Then we have a very fast growing population, ELL population that we'll be kind of addressing a little later on. Then we have, I'm sorry, this is the next slide. This is our Gen Ed population. So now we're talking about who are those students. This is what our district is made of. 87% is African. Hispanic, that's a fast growing population, I think, maybe 60 some last year. And look at the number this year. So our student population in that. So we're doing some good things around how do we address that rapidly growing population of students. This is our breakdown, male and female breakdown. Usually it's the other way. Females are normally in school. So I don't know what this means, if this is a good thing or not. But I'll take it as a good thing. That means we get more males off the streets and in the classrooms. Now, this is how the district fared. If you look at us, we're in the middle, and we're dead last with regards to right. We have this number. Last year, the district's APR was 55.6. This year is 57.4. So why we're moving in the wrong direction? Well, here's why. Last year, our performance points, possible points were 128. This year it's 140. The increase is because our performance, what we're being rated on, that number is increasing. So we're being, so science and social studies and response to standards are being added to, or have been added, or are being added to what the performances are. So this number is if you want to go up next year. So it'll be 200, I believe, next year. So what that means is our points earned, we have to have some strong performances in order to combat these numbers. So although this number decreased, we did have some growth. But we had some growth in the new areas as well. So make sure that we're really pushing our systems and all of those things in place, and we're going to have some conversations around what we're doing. Some of our early impediments, culture and climate. We know what this district looked like, felt like. So there was a lot of things that happened with the culture and climate that really spoke to why we're performing the way we're performing. Organizational structure. We just didn't have the right people in the right seats on the right bus. So movement around organization. Accountability and evaluation systems. We had some, but they weren't implemented. So we're doing some work around everybody gets evaluated every year, so that we'll know how to provide professional development. Our strategic plan, we had I think, the strategic plan like we should have been in the schools. So now we're doing something different around strategic plan. Our budget, we have the monies in place to provide resources to our students. Conversation around that, what do we do with our academic programming to allow students to more opportunities at success. Student performances, of course, college and career readiness. Last year we've implemented some things to make sure that we're addressing those needs. Curriculum and instruction practices and staffing. Staffing is a huge issue, not only for we're continuing to have some conversations around What does that look like? Um, Certified people are not combating that. So what are we doing about it? We just spoke about the instruction coach and climate. These are people who will assist me with presenting in their areas. That's my work. For instruction, you'll hear now from Mr. Anthony Taylor.
We think about curriculum and instruction, thinking about the role that we play, teaching, learning, and of course results. And some of the results that you're going to hear from tonight are from our rating, Adventum, and local assessments. Great. When we look at some of the vulnerabilities that we have, we'll be really vulnerable with you. Let you know about our third grade. Our third grade, there were some learning opportunities there that hadn't taken place yet. We looked at our third grade scores and we found out that they're falling further and further behind. And we needed to stop the bleeding. We needed to do something. All the unlearned learning that was happening. We need to do something about that. And some of the root causes that we looked at, we certainly looked at 90-90 attendance. We looked at social and emotional factors. So there was a crisis that we needed really to pay attention to. So we started looking, and we looked at our third grade. We looked at the initiative that we have for our second kindergartners through second grade literacy. And one of the things that we noticed right off the bat when we started looking at third grade, we started looking to see how they're performing. And you see the percentage there. 7.2% of our kids are 2 grade levels behind. The same percentages for them. We need to do something about it. And we look at the level of non-determined, we look at the students that were not tested. And that gave birth to our initiative around our superintendent K2 Literacy Initiative. We needed to stop the bleeding. We needed to focus on fundamental skills in reading. We looked at high-frequency words. We looked at vocabulary comprehension, also literacy, information text. Some of the major points about the initiative that we started at the K2. Every school, within that school improvement plan, there are specific goals for students that are 1 grade level behind. And they have what's called a reading success plan. And that plan is really important. It's very detailed. It has a diagnostic information in there. Diagnostic information tells about kids' strengths and their weaknesses in their reading. It has a foundational piece of literacy. And it also allows the kids to have at least 1 intensive hour of instructional practice around literacy. But then, and each teacher gives, our schools K through 2, each of our teachers give what's called a literacy task. And that monthly assessment, superintendent exactly how kids are performing on a month-to-month basis. And so we're able to gather that data and look at it.
I think what I really want parents and community members to really glean from this, I want to be transparent. Last 78% of our third graders entered the absolutely. We can't do that. That's false. So what we have to do is, what do we do for early? So the initiative that we decided to start attacking preschool K-1, 2, so that our students can have a fighting chance in the 3rd grade and on.
And then also, when we looked at some of the assessment, the local assessments that were happening, we started to see that our K through 2 students, 1, 2, K, 1, and 2, they really started to see a lot of markings.
I'm trying to help this.
So one of the things that you'll notice here is that when we looked at out of our first K through 2 students, we looked at skills around phonetic awareness, high frequency words, vocabulary, comprehension. You see the numbers there in August, where they started 11.2, April 37.5. They're making the mark. They're heading in the right direction. So we're really proud of that data. And then also look at the benchmark. That's how I rated that 2 and 3. And you notice making the mark and they're increasing their scores. So we're really proud of that work.
Bottom numbers represent the number of students out of 475 who are now making, who are now reading above grade level in this time period.
Okay, this data here, we also look, of course, at our 3rd and 8th graders as well. See here, they're making the mark as well. They're increasing in reading and in math. We started off with the first benchmark in our rating. You see that we had about 140 students, or 10.6%. In the last benchmark we take from the data is still coming in, we're right around 20%. Same growth is happening in math. Math is moving in the right direction. When we look at 9 through 12, one of the things that we want to point out is the level of undetermined. When we have kids that are level of undetermined, those students did test. Scores that we have. It's really important for the high school that we work on putting that together, helping with this, how we can support them any way we can to get the levels of undetermined moved up. Here. One of the things that we want to mention here that our department, the CNI department, has a razor focus on some initiatives across the district that we want to point out. I want to talk about, please look here. We adopted an evidence-based curriculum in social studies, social studies, ELA, and math. And that is really going to make a huge grades 3 through 12. We look at priority standards, looking at the item benchmark descriptors, faculty. Our priority standards are going to make a huge difference. Block scheduling across the district. Also have independent data consults and principals working with them. Partnership with Solution Tree that's been our department. As Dr. Trippett mentioned earlier, 2 years ago, we didn't have these programs in place, but we certainly have them now. We have dual enrollment for student credit. We have our partnership with North County. Those things have all been restored this year. We've also restored the advancement class, the dance class, statistics, literacy, and language. And so those are the big picture, big rocks that we're making for administration. Thank you.
Evening. Normandy's
Schools Collaborative to measuring culture and climate is through the use of Panorama Education Survey. The Panorama Education Survey serves as a valuable tool to assess the culture and climate within Normandy Schools Collaborative. It provides insights into areas of strength and identifies growth opportunities. The survey actively involves parents, students, and staff. Their perspectives contribute to a holistic understanding of the school environment. The survey gauges the prevailing norms, values, and shared beliefs within the school community. It assesses the overall emotional and social well-being of staff and students. By fostering open dialogue and leveraging the insights from the Panorama Education Survey, Normandy aims to create an enriching educational experience for all. The superintendent level advisory committees that are instrumental with a continuous focus on the strengths and addressing the district's growth opportunities. Each committee meets on a advisory committees are the superintendent student advisory council, which consists of students from each school, including is to provide inputs and feedback to the superintendent on matters related to student experiences, policies, and programs. The Parent Advisory Council is composed of parents or guardians of students within the district. Their primary role is to collaborate with school administrators and provide an insight on parent perspective, concerns, and ideas for improving student educational experience. The Strategic Plan Advisory Council focuses on long-term planning and vision for the school district. Members include educators, parents, and other stakeholders. Their role is to review and contribute to the strategic plan. Each committee has played a crucial role in enhancing
We'll be on this one all night. So safety and security. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. So in safety and security, our focus is to provide an enriched environment for our students and our staff to learn and teach. So to that end, we applied for and received a safety grant this year for safety and security. And with that, we purchased a lot of new equipment, such as, which I'll talk about later on in my presentation, a crisis alert system called Strategics. And we did a lot of our equipment and also started a district-wide communication system, which we'll be able to communicate from school to school without leaving. Also, we're going to reinstitute and of course, the clear book bags with the grant money that we received. There's a lot of new clear book bags for the middle school and the high school, so that'll be strictly enforced in the upcoming school year. We also reinstituted the yarmulke pouches for the high school and middle school, and that'll be strictly enforced in the upcoming year too. Also purchased 8 new magnetometers, which are metal detectors, which are state-of-the-art. They're more about weapon detection instead of just metal detection. So that's something that we're very excited about. Next year, we will reinstitute and enforce our ID policy. All students will be required to wear IDs that are visible and up to date. And that way we will be able to tell who's supposed to be here and who's not. We also increased our security staff by 6 officers, 3 for the high school and 3 for the middle school, and we're still hiring. So if you guys know anybody that's looking for a security job,
see me after the presentation, please. And then one of the things that we're really proud of relationship with our community. Mr. Chris Krameyer in the audience, he started an anti-violence task force that we are very proud of and that we meet monthly and talk about how we can do things better also in the community and help the community out with some of our activities that are going on in schools. And with that, I will.
Future of emergency response has arrived, and it just takes the click of a button.
The upgrade keeps students safer in school shootings and
hallway, like classroom, as well as the teacher or the staff member who did make that emergency call.
Teachers will press a button on the badge to send an alert that there's a problem. If it's a campus-wide alert, lights linked to the system begin to flash across campus.
responding to an emergency situation quicker than ever before is possible now through this badge.
A great deal of assurances to our parents, to our students, to our employees, to the superintendent and our board.
It empowers the teachers to be in control of the safety of their home. They can summon a principal at the push of the button. We are aware that is power of technology.
So we now have those badges. Most schools, all of our schools have them, but they haven't been distributed throughout the district yet to the teachers and other staff members. But before the next school year, everybody will have a strategic badge. So that's all I have.
I'm sorry, you said everybody, every administrator, teacher,
Yes, ma'am.
leaders.
Yes, ma'am.
No,
Yeah.
anybody in the school district.
That's everybody. That's no, it's not students, no,
But,
members, no members.
That's,
No.
Don't give me that clip. Good evening, Normandy Schools community. I get the privilege of speaking about the district's business and finance, our financial position year to date. We've got some positive things that are going on. Talk about business office and finance, and Normandy Schools Collaborative, our financial position through February 29th of this year is pretty strong. As we have a fund reserve savings of about 38.97%, just under 40% is our fund balance, our overall fund balance, which is really a positive thing. Fund balance is basically a picture of our savings, what we have in our savings account, our expenditure, the spending that we have year to date. So, the state has a mandate or requires that districts have about at least a minimum of 3% of a fund reserve in their operating, what we consider our operating funds, which would be basically our general fund and our teachers, called our teachers fund. Our operating fund reserve stands just under 30% at 29.8%. Strong, healthy fund balance ratio. Again, the state requires a 3%, basically to avoid distress ranking or classification. We are at just under 30%, or roughly 10 times that minimum requirement currently. Being left-handed here, we've got Brooks Brothers over here, both left-handed, so we got to work with our technology. Year to date, our revenues basically are coming in at about 37. That's closer to 40 million through March, by the way. So those collections are coming in fairly strong. Our associated expenditures are at 48 million. So we began the year with a strong fund reserve. So this is actually common for us. We basically collect our revenues largely in December and January each year on property tax collections. So you as community members, if you own properties, if you have commercial or residential or personal property in the community, you know that you pay a tax bill, say in December. And so that's a large portion of our collection. And so that is how we look financially. This is a picture basically of how our revenues trend and how our expenses trend. Again, we receive about 36% of our revenues from local sources. Again, those basically tax receipts and sales taxes. We get in our second largest share comes from the state in the form of foundation formula monies and transportation reimbursements, etc. And thirdly, we receive a large portion of our monies federally from our title programming, in addition to, as you've heard, ESSER funding, a lot of the stimulus funding that had kicked in as a result of COVID. On the expenditure side, we trend, just like pretty much all of the other 540 or so school districts in the state of Missouri, public school systems, we trend at about 42% of our expenditures are tied up in salaries. So we really believe, and of course that's a large expense. In addition to that, we have roughly about 13% that go into our benefits, 17% that goes into our purchase services. That would be the purchase, travel, professional development. We have about 14% that goes into equipment, furniture, and fixtures. And then roughly the balance in other areas like supplies, etc. So roughly, school districts roughly spend anywhere from 70 to 80% of their overall budgets, at least as far as their operating budgets, that's in their general teachers fund. They spend that on salary and compensation packages to staff and personnel. And we are the same way. We want to really ensure, as Dr. Triplett, quality education going on in our district, and so on. So the district is currently constructing the budget for the upcoming fiscal year. So we're working with all budget administrators, teachers, and state community stakeholders to put together a whole budget that really works and drives instruction successfully for the district. Additionally, Normandy Schools Collaborative will track its student enrollment. So we're looking at that. We're looking at exactly how our student enrollment is trending. In fact, we had a meeting earlier today where we looked at our staffing and we looked at our enrollment, because we want to make sure that we get that, nail that down properly. The staffing needed to really educate our children successfully. And as Dr. Triplett mentioned, we've seen some growth in our English language learners. Dr. Brooks will talk about that further as we proceed. But we were seeing some interesting things in the dynamic. And finally, my last slide, we've got this building. This is a beautiful thing, but we have been dedicating funding to really a new environment here in the high school. We've had this Prop V construction initiative. We've spent roughly about $38 million so far in Prop V construction, putting in new facilities throughout. You see this. This is this beautiful complex that we have here. It's just a diamond so we're really proud of what's going on. The team that we've been working with, our construction manager, KAI, and our architect, TRI, we are culminating this construction initiative May 31st. We plan to be done substantial completion of this effort on May 31st. And with that, that's pretty much it for me. I'm going to turn this over to my other illustrious brother Brooks here, Tony Brooks.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tony Brooks. I'm the Assistant Superintendent for Student and a resident of Normandy as well. This is a basic overview of my department. As a department from working with SSD, wraparound services, attendance and community partnerships, and I'll elaborate. One of our, if not the biggest area that we focus on. Prior to this year, we had upwards of 6 MOUs with different partnerships that were not yielding any kind of support for our students. A lot of partnerships were focusing, really just using the name of Normandy that was charging them to $19,000 a month. So what we have done, we've taken an opportunity to really look at our partnerships. We work with Beyond Housing. Julia Blanky, make sure Mr. Craig Meyer, you give her a shout out. Me, Dr. Triplett, Julia, we sat down and we did a revision of the evaluation process. Vet out a lot of those who really want to be here and those who don't. So we've done a great job of doing it. And matter of fact, if you come to a board meeting, you'll have an opportunity to hear them present what it is that they're doing. And again, they go through the process every year.
How many MOU partners do we have?
Right now we have 25. And those are going with, again, we're putting up, to be rigorous as far as these partnerships and what it is that they're bringing to the community. Because again, for a long time, they weren't doing anything. So we've gone from at least 62 now to 25. Impact at the building level. We all have an opportunity in my department. We work in every building every day. So some of the things that we're focusing on students, especially when they're in their lives. So we have this brand that work for Beyond Housing. ELL, as Dr. Triplett mentioned earlier, we've had significant growth in ELL. The number has almost doubled from last year to this year. You ask yourself, why? Why are we having such a huge influx of ELL learners, especially Spanish-speaking ELL learners? Well, in talking to the families, one, the area is affordable. Two, the district has welcomed them with open arms when they've struggled elsewhere, you know. And three, the children get a fair shot here in Normandy schools. What families are saying, because one family will tell another family member. So a lot of families that come in can be. In addition to, Dr. Tripp, individuals who will come into the schools and also within schools try to create a concentrated area so that our students can get the instruction that they need. Remember, all of our students are tested, so we want to make sure we pour everything that we can into all of our students. So our ELL students, that's a growing population. Next, we'll have Ms. Gilliam.
I am the Chief Human Resource Officer for Normandy School Collaborative. This year, our main focus really is the efforts and retention efforts. We are really wanting to respond to having staff that represent the community and respond to our changes as we move forward. And now we are in the middle of rebranding. And you notice around the metro area, we have been advertising on billboards, radio, Metrolinks, newsletters, and social media. We just really want to get the brand out there and just let them know that we are coming and we're coming strong. Another focus with a lot of colleges and universities around here to help with the collaboration and what we can do to bring back the student teaching and professional development for all staff. Our focus really is competitive benefits and salary. We're really working with our local other districts to see where we are and how we can be competitive and also growth opportunities for all staff. We want to help our staff stay in the district, so we want to make sure that we have those opportunities so they can be able to grow within. So if you want to learn more about our recruitment and retention efforts, you can visit us at normandysc.org.
This is actually a good segue into communications. Kind of give you an idea of how the communications department touches all departments within the district of our story. One way that we tell our story is through our social media channels, which is an earned media. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about our digital marketing trends from March of last year to this year. We continue to increase our followers on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. We also track our internal communications. Every other week, we share the news that's going on in the district, talk about upcoming events such as this. We also have an internal newsletter which goes out the alternative week, and that's sent to all employees as well. Rates for newsletter, I will back up and say, also includes the Monday. We use that software to push that information out as well, and any kind of special messages that we need to get out. We'll talk a little bit about social media. So we've had a total of followers that we have right now. Again, we continue adding followers to our year. From March last year to this year, we've pushed out about 6 among all of our social media platforms. And so what that does is that it's 1,000 people within that 1 year through messaging that we push out. And that's all messaging that we create. Also, track our media coverage. And I wanted to talk a little bit. Since we had an incident here at the high school, every major television station here in the St. Louis area covered that along with the same. Continue to meet with our schools to figure out and learn more about our individual students with great needs. One of the things we're also working on, again, working with the superintendent's office in the district. If you've been on our website recently, you have seen it's got a brand new look. Here, what you're looking at the video is our individual schools. Where you want to go. Here are the video that's on our homepage is also see that we've done a little bit more meet your principal. Working with our rebranding. This is the old logo and the updated logo. I will working on to make sure that all of our branding material is create a branding book and share that with our schools so that all the look is consistent across all. Here's some of the ways that we've communicated, again, the Normandy Insider, connections. We've done a great job of really enhancing our graphic arts to capture everyone's attention. Channels. One way that we've also channel to reach community members is our new podcast, which was launched in March. So that is another way for us to communicate.
Let's go.
And it's a podcast. One of to really beef up the communications department in the areas of graphic. So then, again, that's one way for us to tell our story, to get our story out. That was an opportunity for you to share your questions or comments with the superintendent. So what we'd like to do is that we will have, you've got to ask a question. If you don't feel comfortable speaking in public,
I would like to recognize our board who's here. And Mr. Harlan Hodge, our board president. With Fozzie, I don't know why he wants to sit like that. Board Secretary, Violet Taylor. Directors, Teresa Pearson. Erica Edwards. Joe Brown. I would love, I know we're on the schedule, but I would love for about 2.
Thank you, Dr. Triplett. And good evening to everyone. My name is Harlan Hodge, and I'm just so grateful that everyone took some time this evening to come out and to celebrate the great things that are happening in Normandy. Can we give a round of applause to our administration? There's no better place to be tonight than a place where we're celebrating the achievement and the efforts that go into nurturing the future of our children. And so it's with that excitement that I'm here tonight, and I'm so glad that you are too. This is the business of the day. This is the business of our district. This is the business of our community. I had a conversation with our vice president this morning, and we were talking about this district and how every single person leads into this district with passion and that is a good thing. That means, they say that there's a fine line between love and hate. People want the best for our kids. And you know that they want the best when they engage passionately. And so when we see people and we hear people get upset about what's happening in our district, that means that they have a high standard. We don't want them to lower their standards for our district. We want to have a healthy dissatisfaction with the state, the current state of things. And I am really excited to hear your voices tonight, to hear about what you expect to hear from us, and to hear our plans for living up to your expectations. So thank you. All right, let's get started.
Floor is open for questions and or comments.
I'm a parent, and I have a child that will be graduating this year. So my question is, what are you guys doing going forward? What are you guys doing to educate staff and students on the Dese requirements for graduation? And because I didn't know the requirements as a parent, and entrusting the staff to take care of that, it didn't happen. So what are you doing going forward to educate the staff and students so they will know for themselves what they need to know to graduate?
Great question, Mom. And currently, let me say what should happen. And I, principal here, so hopefully he's kind of taking a mental note. All of our students should be, day one, receive some in-service. So assembly, big time, assemblies each grade level. They should have conversations from the principal, the administrators, and as to what classes need to be passed along the way, what should be, how many credit hours they should earn each year, et cetera, et cetera. So you're absolutely right, Mom, and those conversations also need to be had with parents. What I will ask, and this is an ask I've been asking all year, I need parents to reach out to parents, to get parents on board. That's the biggest piece we're missing, and that's the biggest piece of the puzzle to making this whole wheel turn. So what we're not getting is a lot of parent participation and support. But we still have to make sure we have that. So thank you, Mom. I see Mr. Nate back there shaking his head, so we'll.
And as a parent, like, what do you do when you're reaching out for help and giving requirements, and those requirements are met, and then it's still, so who do you reach out to?
Another great question. And I think that internally we have to work on how and the frequency in which we do so. And we have to make sure we're checking our communication systems to make sure we're being efficient and effective with our communication. So one of the issues one of the problems we're working on with our administrators are how do you respond? How often do you check your emails? How often do you check your messages at your desk and those kinds of things? How often, what time do you use of the day? What time of the day do you reach out to parents to return? Those are the things we're working on. Those are the conversations I've been having with principals in their evaluations about how do you communicate with parents and when do you communicate. You sure? Because we got to get around the secretary. So I think that, Mom, in my opinion, I think a lot of parents are doing the reaching out. I think we're not efficient on this end with regard to parents. So that's some work we have to do.
Because I met with you.
Yes, ma'am.
And I haven't met back with you on that issue. So that's why I'm here.
So I'm available like water. So I'm always around.
Okay, you all heard that, right?
So here, I'm in all the buildings, and I'm at 3 board meetings. So those are a lot of opportunities to reach out to them. Board meetings.
Okay. Education too, so I'm spread. Guys are busy, but that's something looking forward that I don't want to happen to the next round of students next year. You know, I don't want, you know, parents to be lost. Like I the superintendent, who do I go to? Like there needs, you know, parents need to be educated, especially having a child with an IEP. You need, everyone doesn't know what to do. As a parent, you don't know where to go. When I know the Missouri requirements, I depended on my counselor and my support around me, my teachers. You know, I depended on that. And so, you know, there's certain things that children can't get back. And you don't want your child, and I'm not just pinpointing young black men, any child. You don't want your child to lose faith in the school system and just be like, I just don't believe in the system, or I don't believe the school cares. Just here to make sure that going forward, there's a plan, you know, for the students for next year and this year too. We still have time in this year to make a change. Thank you, Dese.
Tell me your name, Mom. Tamia.
Tamia Carr.
Tamia,
I'm blowing up the phone lines, but I'm Tamia Carr. And my
I just
son's
wanna-
name is Jerry Hill.
Thank you so much. This is one of many voices like this in our district. Meeting we have a parent like Tamia who's saying we need better communication, right? And we've had a lot of parents who say, this is my daughter and my son's last year, they're graduating. How are we gonna make things better for folks in the future? I picked up this microphone because there are more people accountable for answering that question than our superintendent. Responsible for answering that question. I can't answer that question right now. The folks at these tables are responsible for answering that question. Folks in these chairs are responsible for answering this question. Folks who are not in this room right now are responsible for answering your question and your questions. This is our school district. This is our school district. And so my question is, how would you like to see that answer, the answer to that question? What should we be doing to make sure parents know what the requirements for graduation are? So, for your district, how should we be engaging parents in this conversation so that you will know who to talk to, you know how to get the answers, and you will feel heard? Right? I will tell you right now, we do not have enough opportunities to engage all of our parents that they can take advantage of. Superintendent has set up lots of opportunities for parents to come to the schools to get engaged. We've heard right time. What is the right way for us to do that? What's ideal? What do we need to do to create a can come, ask, and contribute and hear their voices. This room should be filled with people right now. My assumption is, it might not be the most opportune time. Got other stuff going on. But I can tell you, they don't have something more important than being in this space right now, addressing these issues. And so our question has to be, how better? If we're not living up to your expectations, what are they? What do you want us to do? What does that vision need to be? So, Mr. V, I'm going to come back to you. Can you make a recommendation to us about how we should be getting information?
Emails or grade and everything, but as a person who works in education, sometimes just reaching out verbally or some type of meeting or contact goes a long way. And like now, I think it should be follow-ups. Like if a student is required to take certain math classes or science, whatever it is, they should be given the right classes. And it should be followed up. If a staff member quits, because there was a lot of, I got that as an excuse, and it's really bad with staffing right now. So if a staff member quits, make sure that person was doing their job as a counselor. I don't think it should be left upon the parent or the student. I feel like there should be checkups. My son has ADHD, I have to check in with him. I just don't leave him to do a task and I go back and follow up and say, did you answer this question? Did you complete this chore? Like you said, a lot of the money from the graph that you showed, a lot of the money goes towards, the paying the staff and stuff. So I feel like follow-ups should be done. It's a start.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mr. Word, and I think listening to you, Parent Mother, and Mr. Hyde, I think what's really important that we always need to look at is where have we come from. And Normandy has gone through a great transition the last 20-something years, as Commissioner Van Dese stated. We merged or well submerged into our district. We're still working through all of the situations and building our community, rebuilding it. And that takes time. We need to work as a community, as a force to help build our community and help it to grow even further and recognize where we have come from and how far we have come. I think we will continue to move forward, but I think we cannot allow ourselves to have a state of amnesia where we have forgotten the past because we will repeat the same thing. I think if we look at where we've come from and how we have even helped the students to merge fully from Wellston into Normandy, and how we are still working to build a full, enriched community where it is seamless, one, and also reaching our parents as well. That takes time. And it doesn't happen overnight. Although it's occurred about almost 15, 20 years ago. We're still working through it. And work through it to help us to grow as a community. And I think continue with the state support, as the commissioner stated, that they will continue to work with us in that. We were the district that accepted Wellston. We were the district. When the surrounding districts said no, we were the ones that took it on and said, yes, we will welcome Wellston into our community. That's what we need to remember. We took it over. We did. And we need the support to continue to move forward as communities, but make the two communities one. And that's what we need to do, and we need that support to make it happen. And a lot of our students are still dealing with the trauma of that experience. It was traumatic. And they're still trying to work through all of that. Listen, I see it every day. I see when I drive to work from coming to campus, working through that, and what they're going. Because this is more than a few years, 5 or 6 years. This takes time. And we need the support to continue to move forward. How do we do it? Become one community, support each other. But remember, we must remember from whence we come in order to move forward. So that's all.
Hi, my name is Glennis Brooks, and I want to build on what Mr. Ward just said. Being in the classroom, I see that we have two really hard-working counselors who continually pull students for credit recovery and so forth. But it really does take a village to raise a child, and so I think there also needs to be instilled within our students a greater sense of urgency, that they need to be proactive in knowing where they stand in the community, where they stand in the classroom, and where they stand with their credits. So I think the parents, staff, and students taking more responsibility will really help them move forward. Because I know, as I mentioned before, that the counselors work really hard. We probably could use some more, if we could have room or funds to hire more. So that's one statement I wanted to say to address your excellent question. And then the other thing that I wanted to ask is, can someone share a pointed direction for helping students who are ELL students? So me growing up in North County, I'm really excited to have Spanish-speaking people in the classrooms. I know diversity, really, we are able to sharpen each other by learning from each other's cultures. And growing up in North County, myself and my brother Carlton, we had zero influence in diversity and exposure. And I lived in Los Angeles for a long time, and I grew a love for the Hispanic people. And then when I came here, I was excited to see them in the classroom. But a lot of times they're lost in the classroom. I remember like one phrase from a year of Spanish in college, which is, tu mama es su casa, which means your mama is in the house. And I can't teach them too much beyond that. And so I'm hoping that we will really focus on helping them to become educated too. Because those who are bilingual are able to, but there's some that are really getting lost in the woodwork. So that's it.
I want someone to address that question.
So
While we're prepared to do that, I want to make something really quickly, Dr. Triplett. I think it's quite ironic. One of the things that delayed me from getting here today is that I work at the University for Health Sciences and Pharmacy, and in my department, which was a Diversity and Equity and Inclusion department, nominated an individual for an annual award for the work that they had done in DEI. And the award was given to her because she created a translation services from English to Spanish speakers in the Normandy area, a graduate from the University of Missouri St. Louis. And who would have figured that she literally, Miss Santiago, I can't remember her last name now, for Spanish-speaking individuals in our district is a gift to us. They're choosing us, and so we have to choose to give them what they need. And we have to think outside of the box about how we do that, by leveraging the resources that, right? We have individuals working in our area, we have parents, we have university graduates, we have students in our region that can help us with these efforts. The international us because they are directing students to families to our area, but we've got to be equipped to meet their needs. So what are we doing as a to enhance those opportunities? Who's going to address that?
We work in campus support. We make sure that we're in schools every week. Try to get to schools every day. And going to schools, we do walkthroughs. So we're not just, we are seeing again an increase of students that are Spanish speaking. And then when you're doing a walkthrough, you're not talking to the teacher. When you do a walkthrough, you're talking to the students. and you're checking for understanding, tell me what the learning target is. Tell me what you focus on what students are able to tell us. Struggles with English, they stick out. So when we see that, and I will push, as Dr. Trooper said, and it's something that we see when we are in the classroom. So some things that we want to do, we want to first, again, something our ELL students to first acclimate. It's not just about learning the language. It's not just about learning the curriculum. This is their community now. To make sure that they understand that they are a part of this change, and they have to be given to have a voice, to be able to speak at the table, to be able to read communication, sit down. And we have to make sure, now we don't have to make sure, we are ensuring. We're taking every step to make sure our families are feeling welcome. In the Black community, traditionally, anybody, in your, my family, everybody, and they are attached to us as if they're have to make sure that these families that are walking in, imagine if it's you walking into a brand new environment, you don't even speak the language, and you're looking for some type of understanding, you're looking for someone that you connect to. In Normandy, we have those people. In Normandy, we will have those classrooms. In Normandy, we will be bridging that gap. So I can't speak for what's happening elsewhere, but I can in this district are serious. There are, I won't call names, but there are local districts that are trying to recruit our families. They came here for a reason, so it's our job to make sure we do everything we possibly can. And we are just at the tip of the iceberg for doing everything we can for these families. I hope I understand.
So let me expound on that a little bit. This is what we're in the different stages of creating an increasing our staffing in that area. We've been taking a look at buildings to see who has the most ELL population in their buildings to see if we can have 1 or 2 or 3 buildings. So we're taking a hard how do we service our ELL population better. So to add on to what Dr. Brooks said, yes, we are creating in the stages of creating an emergent acquisition program for our ELL students.
Thank you, Dr. Trubin. Just want to add 2 things to that. There are public resources that we are trying. Also, we're providing, like in the healthcare system, we've got virtual learning apparatuses, we call it VRI, virtual interpreters, that are literally providing services on the spot when needed to folks who need that interpretation. But the second thing that's really important is that we also need to lean in. And the best example of that is happening. I might not know that high school has a new. There's nothing like soccer to bring people together. There's a young who is new to the district, whose first language is not English, it's Spanish. And all the girls on the team are learning to speak Spanish from her. Right? This is the gift for our integration in this community. Being able to lean in and learn more. Right? Let's not put the burden on our ELL students and families alone. They are our families, and we need to also lean in to learn a little Spanish, right? As they learn a little bit more.
Good evening. My name is Dese. And this meeting, we had this meeting, same back meeting last year, and this panel, the entire meeting sounds exactly all year. There seems like no new information. There seems like no growth. It literally feels like the exact same meeting from last year. I am terribly disappointed. My kids have been in this district since 17. I'm alumni. I went to this school from kindergarten up until 10th grade, and my husband and I graduated from North Tech. We are deeply disturbed by these numbers. Our kids can't read. My kids can read, but looking at the numbers, our kids can't read. Kids are doing terrible at that. And we're like at the point, I'm just going to this thing now. We're at the point where we're trying to integrate the Spanish culture, and our kids don't know enough about their own culture. I definitely understand and know that parent support is lacking, but parent engagement is lacking even further. There is zero accountability for the staff. We've met great teachers. We've met terrible, disgusting administrators. It's sad. To several administrators. I've asked for parent supports. I've asked for parent engagement. I've asked for supports for SSD students. I've asked for accountability for our SSD staff. For our social emotional supports for our kids. So in a board meeting a couple months ago, staff addressed, administrators addressed the underlying conditions of how we ended up here. So systemic racism, all of that, how we ended up here. Because this isn't like, our parents aren't coming because they don't want to come. Sometimes they've been wrong, sometimes they just don't want to come, sometimes they at work. But we've how we agreed to acknowledge the issues and how we got here, but do nothing to change it. Our parents need to feel welcome. Every time they come and sit in your face, every time they reach out to you, every time they reach out to you, it's pushback. It's emotional. Sitting in somebody's face that wrongs you every time you sit in front of them, that wrongs your kids. Like, this is ridiculous, and we're tired of it. I keep telling you at these board meetings, I keep telling you in these community forums, we're tired of it. And they're walking away. They're walking away. So yes, at this point, we're stuck with parents that do not engage, that do not show up. Because the ones that did, they're walking away. People come through our early learning center and they out. They out right in kindergarten, right after kindergarten. We see this. This isn't rocket science. We do know how to turn this around. So it's like at this either you're purposely doing this or we don't know what we're doing. Like I said, this is the same exact meeting that we had last year, and these people are saying the exact same thing. My kids are in 4th grade. You just skipped from, okay, we're doing this for pre-K, and then we're doing this for high school. Well, we're gonna just address them in high school. We're just gonna let them keep falling further. I guess you did say something about 3rd grade, but we didn't address 4th grade, nor through 8th grade. And then we're about to pile more kids in there? Why they on the news?
So thank you for those comments. I've never been a politician, but some of what you said. Because if you were looking at the same presentation I was looking at, they talk about that. You said the same folk up here, you got 90% of these folk weren't even hired yet, so I'm going to mention. I don't know what happened last year that you talked about. That was the same thing, but the data's not. If you look at the data carefully, we can provide you with the PowerPoint. The trajectory of the data is moving positively. Even with our map scores. I'm not sure what you're looking at, but maybe I'll help you disaggregate that data so you can internalize it differently. I have no problem with that. But here's my concern.
Easiest thing we can do is point the finger. The hardest thing for us to do is to take accountability. This is not a Normandy staff issue. This is not a Normandy community partners. This is all of our issues that we have to address. And I see you all the time in meetings, and I love that. I love your engagement. We need more of you. I don't walk around here, can I speak, man? Okay. I walk around here saying how often staff are. I don't walk around here saying how often parents are. What I walk around here saying is that we need to collaborate with our children. The problem is adults get in the way of children learning, right? All of this behavior, this power fighting, there's only one group of people who are suffering because we're doing this. Those are children. So adults need to get out of the way and do what we need to do for the children. Stop personalizing and making it about adults, because it's not about adults. And we need to make sure we remember that when we make decisions and when we collaborate together. About children. More questions?
My name is Driver Henderson. I'm an alumnus. I hear comments just made and just made, and I hear them all the time. Should they get moved out of the school district? Because we've heard the same things year after year. Which may be the truth, is to blame Dese. They took us over, they said they'll give us back our accreditation in 2 or 3 years. It's been 10 years, and we've made little or no progress. I asked each year, and I'll ask it again now, Dese, when do we get our accreditation back? Last school board, who were locally elected, I said, now we should have the school board change, go back to district, get rid of collaboration, start running the school district ourselves locally again. Oh, no, we can't do that. Well, we now have not only a majority, we have 100% of the school board. And yet, Dese is telling us we can't change our name back to district. We're still a collaborative. Most of us don't know what a collaborative is when it comes to a school district. Neighbors tell us collaborative is a black mark on our school district. Normandy is the only bottom school in the state that's called collaborative. We want our main Normandy school district back. We want to organize and run the school district ourselves. We don't want Dese telling us, oh, that's the problem. They're not telling us. They don't know how to run our school. They don't live in our district. Accountability should start at the state top. However, you be a little bit more kind. It's not just Normandy or Missouri. It's coast to coast. And as a one, well, the racism that still exists, when we look and see nationally, we are no longer the top schools. And within our United States, the black students are having to take the burden. Past risk scholastic achievement. Let's change things. and let's change things right here in Normandy, and let's give us back our name, give us back our full control, and we'll expand the school board, and we'll make changes, and we'll name names and be accountable. We can't do this. Dese has to allow us to, and Dese hasn't done a damn except
Thank you, sir. So at this time, I do want to say something real quick, Mr. Driver, this is for your edification. Immediately after Dese had the decision to allow the district elected, communication about how that there's a process for that. I want you to know that there's a process. So Dese did not say they didn't allow that. No, sir. That's fine. I'm going to ask our Assistant Commissioner, Mrs. Serena, to come and close us out.
I apologize that I was late, but I definitely. I apologize. I did come with some young children, but I do have an older son that's at the middle school. I've had a multitude of issues when it comes to this school district, and I am not I am a brand new parent to this district, and I'm completely outraged by the things that I have experienced. I actually just recently had a meeting. Unfortunately, Mr. Brooks couldn't make it, but I did have a few other people that made it to that meeting. But I'm completely outraged. Down from the IEP situation, there's no training involved in these IEP children. There's none. That my son has been sent home so many times that I am losing my job. I'm losing my job because you guys are calling me 15 times a week. A week. Let me tell you about the undocumented suspensions that aren't listed on there, but he's being sent home as if he's been suspended. This is a new parent. I'm not from here. I'm new to the neighborhood. This is the school that situations occur. There's absolutely no other options for us. I'm so to the state representative because they could not do anything for me. Just in regards to virtual learning, because my son doesn't feel safe. We talk about the environment. Let's talk about the environment. Who aren't from the area, who are new, who are bullied, who are put under a thumb, but not when it comes to their education. For instance, sir, my son hasn't been to school the past 8 weeks because he's scared. Because he's scared. Because he doesn't trust your security. Because he does not trust your administration. Because he does not trust the teachers that are put in place. So you tell me, what am I supposed to do as a parent? Let me tell you what I did. I downgraded my hours to make sure that I could accommodate my child doing homeschooling. That? Absolutely not. And waiting 11 months for an IEP. I still have not received the safeguards and policies and procedures that are supposed to be done within 10 days. Where is the training? Where is anything? As a parent, what am I supposed to do? I'm not screaming and hollering. 5 minutes to get my out of control child. That is a special needs child. Out of control. We don't have the manpower to take care of him. That's your principal. Both the principal and the assistant principal. We don't have the manpower. But we just discussed all the security that was just put in place. What's going on? Because I'm scared for my son now. He's equating going to your school and is afraid that he's going to lose his life. Because he's not like that. Then he's not even given the option to learn. And again, I'm still waiting on a virtual learning option. And I'm not trying to make my situation any but I have 3 children. I have a car right now. And I'm not putting myself disheveled, and he's the aggressor.
So I don't want to belabor. Dr. Brooks is our assistant superintendent. Dr. Brooks is our assistant superintendent of services.
Yes, he is.
Will you please be in contact with this young lady to see how time I'll ask Vice Commissioner, Assistant Commissioner Lisa Serrano to
I'd like to thank those of you who are here this evening for taking the time and the concern to share your comments with the department and with the Normandy School. This hearing is adjourned.
Good night, everyone.